I feel very honored and also very privileged to have met and known you. Um, in my
Likewise.
in my years of practice, I would say that you've really been a very amazing person, and your work really inspires me a lot as a nurse, and as a nurse practitioner, incoming one.
Ain't coming. Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I know, but um, the ideology behind hanging out with the real life PFAT is to ensure that young people that look like us have a better representation in our industry, particularly the healthcare industry. Not just the healthcare, I mean, like, different kind of industries.
Right.
The reason why I'm so interested in this industry is because this is where we are. I feel that as healthcare professionals, we're very vulnerable. A lot of times we tell patients to, like, take care of themselves, and we don't even practice self-care as much as we preach it. So today, Marisa, I am really, really proud, and I'm so excited that you're finally here hanging out with me, and we're hanging out with each
So
other.
excited.
Ooh.
Let's talk. Tell me about it.
Um, I just wanted us to use this platform to share our viewpoint regarding, the healthcare industry, particularly mental health, as a concept idea in this video. So before we go further into this video, why not tell us a little bit about your background, what you do?
Sure. So I've been a psych nurse now for about 3.5 years, I believe. It's almost 3.5. Um, always loved psych. Always loved psych. I think struggling with like anxiety and stuff myself has really drawn me to it because I feel like I know it may not be the same as what we deal with at work, but I know what it feels like to feel like you don't have control over your mind. Um, so I really love psych. Currently going for my psychiatric and mental health nurse practitioner. Really excited about that.
Ooh.
Not sure exactly what population I want to work with yet. Probably stay with adults. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it takes me.
Okay, so real quickly, since you ever began psych nursing or psych nurse, like you said, have you ever changed roles into, like, med surg or something different?
No, I knew I always wanted to be a psychiatrist, actually first,
Why
and
not tell us a little bit about how you got into nursing? Yeah.
yeah. So I always dreamed about being a psychiatrist, but I didn't want to go to school for 10 years. A lot of people are like, I ain't going to school for 10 years. I didn't want to go to school for 10 years. So I applied to some nursing schools, got denied about 8 times. I still have my
Woo.
denial letters in my drawer. Um, got to keep them for motivation. I had a counselor, an academic advisor, tell me to just leave nursing. Don't try anymore. You're not going to get in. I was like, but this is what I want to do. Um, and I kept trying, and I got into a school, graduated in the top three, and here I am. So don't give up. If you want to go into nursing, don't give up.
Oh, that's good. So for anybody that's willing to go, like, into nursing, particularly psych nursing, what do you advise?
Find your group of people in nursing school that study like you do. Study hard, limit the distractions. Um, we were studying like 12 hours a day, sometimes, 10, 12 hours. Limited distractions in the outside. You might have to give up a little bit of social life for a couple of years, but it's so worth it. So worth it. And psych, I would say there's more than one type of psych. People tend to think of psych kind of like where we work. Latifa and I work in like a very intense psych population, mainly with schizophrenia, bipolar, and a lot of people think is very scary, and it's not. But if you don't like that, there's addiction, depression, anxiety, there's ADHD, there's childhood psych, there's adolescent, there's home health psych, believe it or not. They have outpatient clinics. So it's not just the inpatient type of psych
Setting.
that people seem to think of when they see a movie, you know? So it's not all scary as people make it out to be.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Right?
Marisa. Yeah, absolutely. I
Right?
get it. I've been there. Ooh, I've been there. I know. Okay, so I want us to delve into the topic of the day. Like really, we cannot stop talking about mental health, but
Mm-hmm.
also I feel that as healthcare providers ourselves, I feel that we are very vulnerable. Have you ever had a time where you really like you became very vulnerable to the point that you think that you are really going to break down? Do you think that in
Oh
our
yeah.
industry, do you think that people admit to the fact that they also decompensate just like the way we have, you know, our patients also decompensate? That do we have
Mhm.
that moment where we really get to the point that whether there is psychosis or no psychosis, do you think that we could admit that yeah, we actually broke down, our mental health is at the level where it's at the bottom?
Yeah, I've definitely been there. I actually had an experience about, I don't know, a couple months ago where I was going through a rough time outside of work. And then at work, it was like a rough couple weeks. Um, and I ended up taking a mental health week
Yeah,
off of
I
work.
think.
And believe it or not, it's like, and you go through this thing in your head and you're like, but I'm the nurse. I'm not supposed to be going through this.
Right.
And that's what you tell yourself. And realistically, anybody can go through this. And we have to take that time and use the advice that we give to our patients and take care of ourselves, because it's only one break away from being exactly where your patient is. And a lot of healthcare workers don't realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're just one break away, you said, one step away from what the
One
patients
step
are.
away to being in their
Yeah.
shoes, or their socks, I like to call it.
I think also the main concern is because we think that we also help people who are not supposed to break down. I think it is okay to not be okay. Even as
Absolutely.
providers, it is
Yeah.
okay that it is okay to take a mental health break. It is okay sometimes call out when you have to, when you really think that you're at the point where you're so exhausted or
Yeah.
you're so stressed out.
Yep. I think we get vacations every year, right? We get sick days, but we don't get mental health days. And I
Right.
think that's one thing that needs to change. Working in healthcare, you go through burnout. I've seen people have uh, workers have mental breakdowns.
Right.
And it could be the cause of stress due to work or outside factors, but realistically, it doesn't matter. If you're not mentally okay to go to work and you're not mentally okay to take care of people, that's okay. But we need to give you time to heal and de-stress, and we don't do that. And
Talking about that, how do you feel when we have to do like an annual medical checkup every year? What about an annual psychiatric checkup and
that's
people don't feel
exactly
scared
how I
about it?
feel.
What do you
Yep.
feel about that?
I've been talking about that for the longest. I said every year we do a physical check, and the only psych questions that they ask you is a paper that they give you asking if you're suicidal. That's it. Do you think I'm going to sit there and be like, yeah, no, because I'm going to have mobile crisis show up at work. I mean, at my physical appointment and take me away. No,
Right.
I believe that every single person needs every year, especially starting in childhood,
Yeah.
you need to have a checkup, whether it's an hour session, hour and a half session with a licensed psychologist, clinical psychologist. I mean, talk about your stressors,
Exactly.
talk about how you handle things throughout the year. And from that, just like a physical, right? You go to a physical, let's say you have high blood pressure. They're going to have you come back in a couple weeks after they give you medication and see how you're doing, reevaluate. So if you go to your psychologist or your therapist and they feel like something's a little off in your annual checkup, they'll refer you or send you back every couple weeks or every week or however much you need it. And I think it's something that, especially in this country, that we're lacking and we could do so much better with.
Would you consider the fact that people don't want to do psychiatric checkup? Is it because of the finances attached to it? Like in terms
Oh
of
yeah.
like, we do not have universal health care in the system. A lot of people have to depend on their insurance and they don't
Hmm.
want bills at their doorstep. Is it going to be one of the reasons that is negatively impacting people from showing up to visit the psychiatrist? Or you think that we need more mental health awareness to run annual mental checkups, or like like by annual mental health checkup? I think even annual is a lot. I think because the feelings of the mind, you might not be able to control it. Emotional scars are never visible most times. You never know. Depression might not be reading on the face. You might not even, that sign you think you're seeing, it might not actually be what it is. It might be more than that. It might be deeper than that. Do you think
Yeah.
we should do more of like a biannual mental health checkups? Looking at like the current trends going on in this country now and even globally, like even after the after effects of the pandemic, and look at where we are right now.
Well, I think it stems from two problems. Just like you mentioned. I think one, finances. Um psych is expensive. And we know that the medication's expensive. One of the reasons why most of our patients come back is because they can't afford the medication and their symptoms relapse. So that's something as a country we need to do better. And as mental health care professionals, we should be looking for cheaper options for our patients or what we could do to help with that. And the second problem is mental health awareness. There's like this stigma around going to a psychiatrist or a therapist, and people are like, "Oh, like, what are you crazy?" And that's why I talk so freely about me going to a therapist because it's like, no, it should be like going to the doctor.
Right.
And in regards to biannually, yeah, I do think it should be more than annually, but right now we need to start somewhere.
Right. And annual
Even if
is is,
that is
is
annually,
reasonable. Absolutely. We don't even have any.
we
We
don't
don't
have
have any. And
biannual.
annual, we'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it.
If
We'll
it's up
take
to
it.
me, if it's up to me, I would send every single person to a therapist once a week, you
Right.
know? So it's like,
Absolutely.
it's annually, biannually, whatever we could do,
Right.
um, I think it can't hurt. It could only help.
Yeah, I think I agree with Marisa because it's okay to also have a therapist, even if you are a therapist. Imagine if a doctor
Mhm.
is sick, a doctor would go to another physician to actually help them when they're sick. They do not
Right.
really treat themselves. So it's okay to break down. It's okay to have those rough
Mhm.
moments. Those things are bound to happen sometimes. We only need to learn better coping skills to manage our situations or our stressors. So I do agree completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I do. One of the very things I wanted to ask you, Marisa, was I know that nursing can be stressful a lot of times. How would you characterize your typical day? Do you think that you get enough rest before you come back? Do you work 5 days a week? Do you work 6 days a week? Do you work 2 days a week? Like, what is it like for you?
Well, as a nurse, typically, some nurses work 8-hour shifts, and they'll work 5 days a week. I work 12 hours and 3 days a week. So the thing is, even though, a lot of people are like, oh, it's only 3 days a week, what
Mhm.
are you complaining about? But I work overnights. And even the people that work days, it's a lot because when you're there, it's you're going the whole 12 hours dealing with stressful situations. And don't get me wrong, some nights are better than others, but it's exhausting. And on your days off, right now, two of my days off I'm spending in clinicals for 8 hours during the day. So it's like the switch up um, in your sleep schedule. I don't feel like I get enough rest. And when I do, I feel like I over rest, and you
Mm,
kind of struggle with some guilt, um, because you have all these outside plans and all these people you want to see on your days off, all these things you want to do, and if you sleep too long, you start to blame yourself for that. Oh, I
absolutely.
shouldn't be sleeping. I shouldn't be sleeping that much. But your body's tired. You need the rest.
Absolutely. What would you advise younger people to do for self-care? Looking at what you do, what's going to be your best advice for younger people out there, to take care of themselves and realize that self-care is actually important to keep going?
Oh, I got so many things. One, physical activity. I know in the younger generation, even my generation, I mean, I'm only 28. Gaming, sitting home on social media it's tempting, and get outside, exercise. You need the sunlight and you need to exercise. Exercise, they say, I mean, I'm like a study freak. I like to read studies. Research shows that exercise is just as effective as taking antidepressants in some research. So it's not going to hurt you. If you ever go to the gym or you ever work out, you always feel better afterwards, right? Imagine doing that every single day, or 5 days a week, or 3 days a week. So exercise is one, getting outside is two. We need the vitamin D, we need the sunlight. Three, nutrition. Nutrition. Other research shows that 90% of your serotonin is in your gut.
Mm,
So yes, you can treat the 10% that's in your brain with a medication. But what are you doing for the other 90%? I'm guilty of that. I mean, listen, I'm guilty for all this. I could be doing better in every single area of this, but still, younger people, these are things you need to know. So take care of your gut, exercise, get outside, learn how to manage your stress. I would say there's three things that we see that are the main culprit at our job of mental illness. One, stress. Two, childhood trauma. Three, drugs. Those three things tend to be the reason a lot of our patients are there. So if you learn how to deal with stress and you learn how to deal with trauma, you might be okay.
right.
And nobody's ever going to be fine, because obviously you go through something traumatic, you go through something stressful, it's going to linger. But I don't want to see people end up in psychotic episodes because of the stress and the trauma. That's what I'm concerned about.
I also think that, I'm very guilty of this, to be honest. I'm so
Oh,
guilty of
listen, I
this.
feel you. I'm guilty of
As
all this.
healthcare providers, a lot of us usually would run on caffeine and we become so addicted to like things that we're not supposed to be addicted to. Like I'm guilty of it. I need like 2-3 cups of coffee in a day to keep
Yep.
going. I know some people really have like sugar cravings. What do you think is the best for us to like, you know, keep going without depending on coffee or any of these things?
You know what? I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I go to work. I mean, you see me. I bring my big Bang energy drink. I'm always asking them for sponsors. Like, that's how much I drink them. I'm like, I might as well get this stuff for free at this point.
And Celsius. And
Celsius.
Celsius.
Oh, love my Celsius. Um, yeah, we use very toxic ways to stay awake, to take care of other people. And like, yeah, we joke around about it at work and stuff, but we don't realize what it's doing to our bodies. I mean, like I mentioned before, someone who suffers from anxiety, it's not healthy for me to be consuming that much caffeine in a night. That's not gonna help. Or cause heart problems too and whatnot. But it's like, I'm not thinking about my mental health when I'm at work, and that's a problem. I think. Do you take vitamins?
Yes, I do. Sometimes when I remember, a lot of times I don't remember.
I mean, same, but I think some ways we could do little things to give us more energy at night. I mean, like I mentioned, I think exercise is huge. When I work out, I have so much more energy. I think diet is huge because when I eat horrible at work, let's say like the unit orders pizza or whatever, and I finish eating that, I'm exhausted
Right.
for the rest of the night because you get like the what's it called, like a food coma, they call it. It's because your body's just like processing all this sugar and all these carbs, and you're just exhausted. So I think eating better, um, vitamins like D3, especially for us that work at night, magnesium when we go to sleep to get well rested, B vitamins, which a lot of us are deficient in. Some of these things I feel like could help us out a lot, but for some reason, I mean, like I said, I'm guilty of this. So I'll talk about myself. I just don't do it.
Okay, so I know that a lot of us, particularly young people like us, we are so burnt out. So how much more people that are much more older than us, do you feel that as healthcare providers, are we better compensated for all that we do? I do know that I'm not well compensated for all that I do,
I
but
don't think you're well
asking
compensated.
I'm just
I'll raise my
asking,
hand on
like,
that.
from your own perspective, do you think that we deserve more based on all the things that we have to take on and take on and carry on with us for a long time? I don't want to say that the worst things happens. We have sweet memories and we have the not so sweet ones. Do you think that there is something better that can be done in terms of compensating healthcare providers, particularly most of us that work with very vulnerable populations?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people that are in your field, in your career, one, I'm gonna start off on this. You guys need to get paid more. Anyone who watches this, I work with Latifah in
Come
New
on,
York. I'm
cut
gonna
it
I'm
out.
I'm gonna mention it. I'm gonna mention it. I'm
Don't
not
mention it. No, we on live. Stop. Don't burn the bridges. Stop.
Are you gonna cut that
What?
out?
Huh?
Are you gonna cut that out?
I'm gonna cut it out. If you
All
say it,
right,
I'll cut it.
cut it.
Okay, say it.
Um, huh?
Say it. I'll edit it.
All right. You don't get compensated enough for all the work that you do. You guys do a lot. Clinicians do a lot of work. I mean, the documentation doesn't stop all night. The patients you guys see doesn't stop all night, especially working in a city. You're getting calls all night. You guys deserve so much more. And it breaks my heart that you guys work that hard. And, you know, I'm not saying other people don't work hard, but you guys have it tough. I'm just
It is
saying.
ridiculous. I know it is so ridiculous. We've had like several times when we try to speak up about how much we get paid, but it is I don't want to use an inappropriate word. I just feel that younger people do not have better representation when it comes to discussing how much they get paid, particularly in our field. A lot of people are so scared about speaking up and speaking out because of the fear of
Oh
being
yeah.
fired. A lot of people are, like they rely so much on the job. I'm not saying I don't rely on my job, but I'm just saying that sometimes we cannot just allow the fact that because a place is toxic, we cannot just keep going on and on like that. Sometimes we really need to talk. The prices are so high right now. You can't even take money to the store and buy something nice. Like you need like $500 to do like a
Oh yeah.
good shopping for your groceries. Like you need
Mhm.
the money. All the inflation rate is so high to the point that I feel that we should even be matching with what is going on like currently. But it's so disheartening that a lot of persons, including my colleagues, including other people in the field in different hospitals, like globally, are not well compensated for the work that they do. I do hope that we can have better representation out there, and that's why I am trying to keep advocating for myself. And as much as I do that, I would also try to advocate for younger people like myself so we
Yeah,
can have better representation. I'm not going to stop talking. I'm going to keep talking too.
keep
So
talking.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Marisa. I am so glad.
Yeah, I mean we have to speak up or else nothing is gonna change. And I
Absolutely.
think a lot of people also don't realize is that the amount it costs for us to even get in this field, school, you know,
Right.
it's ridiculous. So to
Thinking about the student loans and the debt and all that
oh
stuff,
my
and
god, it
you
just
can't
doesn't
even be
stop.
an adult these days. It's like
It doesn't
adulthood
stop.
is a scam.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. It's tough. Um, but if this is what you love to do, don't let it discourage you. We do get paid, but we feel like it's not enough. But
It's not compensatory. I
not
agree.
no.
I'm 100% on that. It's not compensatory,
Mm-mm.
and I feel that we deserve more than what we are giving. I do hope that if anybody's watching this video and it touches their heart, I hope that you can also advocate for yourself if you feel this way and you're also
Yes,
young
please do.
people. Yeah, I feel this way already. I already know where I'm at. I can't even, I can't allow anybody to lowball me right now. I work so hard for every level of the
Yes, you
education that I got. So I'm not gonna be at the point where I would let someone else try to tell me that I don't deserve more. I feel that everybody out there deserve more than what they're
do.
getting. And if you feel like that, you should speak up. You should represent yourself because nobody's gonna do it for you except you do it for yourself, like Marisa said.
Yep. Gotta advocate for yourself. You gotta stick up for yourself. And if you don't like something, you leave and you find something that's willing to give you what you want.
Right, right.
Right?
I think we're gonna wrap it up now, and I
Yeah,
would
let's
say
do it.
that, like Marisa said, it's okay to take a mental health day. Call out if you need to. Young people, don't
Yes.
play with your call outs. Like, take that PTO. Don't be like me.
And don't
Don't be like me. I
don't
keep
forget the
accruing,
I
and
work
you
every
know
single
what?
day of the
It's
month. Take
sometimes you
your
just feel
mental
so
health
miserable.
seriously,
The
please.
burnout make you feel miserable sometimes, and it's like you don't even want to survive. You're like, no, leave me alone. I don't even want to talk. Sometimes I feel so irritable. It's super tough.
Yes. And if you don't feel okay, take the time to take
Right.
off of work and get help. Because I don't want to end up where we are. Is that music?
Yeah. Come on. We do that for self care.
You damn right. Put it down. Just dance it out. Just like what Latifah's doing.
Shake it out. Shake the mood. Let's go. Shake it.
Mood doctor.
Shake it. Ooh.
This is why
Ooh.
everyone is called the mood doctor.
Like a chicken. Like a
Can't be
chicken. Let's
sad.
go. Let's go. Ooh, let's go. Let's go. Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you,
watching.
everyone. Thank you for having me on,
Everyone.
Latifa.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Marisa. Thank you so much for
No,
speaking
thank
to the
you.
people. I hope that people can learn from this and also share their experiences with us. If you
Please
really want to
do.
hang out with myself or Marisa, I'm gonna put in our social media handle right here so that you can follow us, and then if you want us to represent you somehow, we can speak out.
Yeah,
If you have a burning
do it.
topic that you want to talk about in healthcare or in any industry that's concerning mental health, because much of our expertise is on mental health, correct?
Yeah, start the
So
conversation. Reach out to one of
yeah,
us.
let's talk about it. Let's do this. Let's do this
Mhm.
again, okay? We are really excited that you're watching us right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be it for today.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye. Bye. Woo. Bye, everyone. Bye.